Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. In the world of numismatics, there are coins that stand the test of time, captivating collectors and enthusiasts alike with their rich history, unique designs, and, of course, the value they can command on the market. One such coin that continues to intrigue and excite collectors is the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny, specifically the 1976 edition. To understand the significance of the 1976 Lincoln penny, we must first dive deep into its historical context. The year 1976 was a monumental one for the United States, marking the 200th anniversary of the nation's independence. It was the time when Americans celebrated the bicentennial, a period of reflection on the country's rich history and the achievements that had defined the nation. The bicentennial celebrations brought forth various commemorative designs, events, and even coinage that would forever be remembered as part of the nation's heritage. The 1976 Lincoln penny, however, was not originally conceived as a commemorative piece. Instead, it remained part of the regular coinage, with its standard design that had already been in use for decades. But to understand its uniqueness, we need to first explore the history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The design, created by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner, featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse front and the inscription, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year of mintage. For over 6 decades, this iconic design remained unchanged. However, in 1959, the reverse side of the penny was changed to a new design featuring a simple depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, replacing the wheat stalks that had adorned the coin's reverse side since its inception. This change, still recognized today, added to the coin's historic significance, representing Lincoln's legacy in a monumental way. The 1976 Lincoln penny continued to feature this reverse design, but what makes it special, in terms of collecting, is the coin's place in history during a year filled with national pride. As the 1970s rolled on, the United States Mint was dealing with an increased demand for pennies. The production of these small, copper-plated coins was essential for everyday commerce, and the Mint worked tirelessly to meet the growing need. During this period, the Mint faced certain challenges. By 1976, the Mint had made several improvements in the production process, yet some coins still slipped through the cracks, carrying minor flaws or anomalies that would later make them even more intriguing to collectors. To understand the appeal of the 1976 Lincoln penny, we must talk about the unique features that could potentially make this coin a rare find. First, like most pennies, the 1976 version was struck in copper, and it has a standard weight of 2.5 grams. However, some of the coins minted that year carried distinct characteristics that collectors obsess over. Misprints, die cracks, and errors on the coin's surface have made certain 1976 pennies highly coveted, fetching impressive amounts at auctions or private sales. Among the most sought after are coins with double die errors on the obverse, where the features of Lincoln's portrait appear doubled due to a malfunction during the coin striking process. These errors are particularly rare and can result in pennies that are worth far more than their face value. But there's more to the 1976 penny story. Collectors began to recognize that not all coins were created equal. In 1976, the United States Mint produced pennies across several minting facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Each of these facilities used different dies and production processes, which led to subtle differences in the appearance of the coins. For example, the 1976 penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is known for producing coins with a clearer, sharper strike, often has a more pronounced Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Coins struck at the Denver Mint may show a slightly different level of detail. These subtle differences have fascinated numismatists, as they add an additional layer of complexity to the coin's desirability. The appeal of the 1976 penny didn't end with its production. Over time, it became evident that certain errors or variations could make these pennies even more valuable. While a regular 1976 penny is worth only 1 cent, the unique varieties and misprints have caused the price of specific coins to skyrocket. This is particularly true for high-grade examples, where the coin has been well preserved and shows little wear. The higher the grade, the more valuable the penny becomes. Coins that have been graded at MS 65 or higher by the professional grading services, such as the American Numismatic Association, have seen substantial increases in value over the years. The heart of the 1976 Lincoln penny's appeal is the nostalgia and sentiment that surrounds it. The bicentennial celebrations created a renewed sense of pride and patriotism among Americans, and the coin's connection to this historic moment only adds to its allure. It's a reminder of a significant year in the country's history, and for collectors, it represents the opportunity to own a piece of that legacy. Yet, in the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. The 1976 penny, while relatively common in terms of circulation, still holds value for those with an eye for the rare and unusual. In fact, it's not uncommon to see collectors scouring through rolls of pennies in search of a special variety, hoping to discover one of those elusive error coins. Whether it's a double die, a well-preserved mint-state example, or a unique variation, the hunt for the perfect 1976 penny remains a popular pursuit. Now, let's get to the big question that many have been waiting for. Just how much can a 1976 penny be worth? Well, it varies greatly depending on the coin's condition, rarity, and whether it possesses any notable errors. Most 1976 pennies, in circulated condition, are worth only their face value, 1 cent. However, as we've already discussed, coins with certain errors or unique characteristics can fetch much higher prices. For instance, a 1976 penny with a rare double die error or a high-quality example could easily be worth thousands of dollars. In fact, the highest price ever paid for a 1976 Lincoln penny was an astounding $89,700. This price was paid for a particularly rare and well-preserved specimen, complete with an exceptional double die error. This coin's rarity, combined with its pristine condition and historical significance, made it one of the most valuable pennies in existence. So, how does one go about finding such a coin? The answer lies in the expertise of collectors, the patience to sift through countless pennies, and, of course, a bit of luck. But for those lucky enough to find a high-quality, error-free example, the reward could be immense. The story of the 1976 Lincoln penny is one of history, craftsmanship, and the thrilling world of coin collecting, where a seemingly simple coin can turn into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or just someone curious about the fascinating world of rare coins, the 1976 Lincoln penny remains a symbol of the enduring fascination that continues to drive collectors to seek out hidden gems within our everyday currency. As we close, remember that the 1976 Lincoln penny, while often overlooked as just another piece of change, is a perfect example of how the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, history, and excitement. Whether you find one with a fascinating error or simply appreciate it as a part of U.S. history, it's clear that this tiny copper coin holds much more value than meets the eye. So, next time you're rummaging through your loose change, keep an eye out for that elusive 1976 Lincoln penny. It might just be your ticket to a small fortune. Top 2. We deep dive into one of the most intriguing and valuable pennies from the United States, the 1979 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might be wondering, what makes a penny from 1979 so special? Well, stick around because by the end of this video, not only will you understand why this particular penny is so captivating, but you'll also be amazed by its current value. We're going to explore the fascinating history, design, minting process, and why collectors are so keen to get their hands on it. Trust me, this isn't just any ordinary penny. It's a treasure trove of history, mystery, and incredible value. Let's get started. To fully appreciate the importance of the 1979 Lincoln penny, we need to first understand the historical context in which it was produced. The United States had gone through significant changes during the 20th century, and by the 1970s, coinage in America was also experiencing a period of transition. In 1979, The United States was in the midst of recovering from the economic turmoil of the previous decades. Rising inflation, the aftermath of the Vietnam War, and the oil crisis were all weighing heavily on the nation. It was also a time of significant cultural change, and the U.S. Mint was beginning to see a shift in coin production. This is where our 1979 penny enters the picture. The coin we're talking about is part of a long tradition of Lincoln pennies, first minted in 1909. But the 1979 version is unique for several reasons. In fact, it's a symbol of the complex and ever-evolving history of American currency. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, and it's one of the longest-running series in U.S. coinage history. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, has been featured on the obverse, or front, of the coin since its inception. The reverse, or back, of the coin has changed several times over the years, but in 1979, the design was still based on the famous Lincoln Memorial, an iconic image that has remained a staple of American numismatics. But what makes the 1979 penny so intriguing? Well, the answer lies in the minting process and some unique variations that emerged that year. The United States Mint produces coins at various facilities, and in 1979, there were multiple mints at work on the Lincoln cent, each producing a different variation of the coin. While most pennies produced that year were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, there were also some coins produced at the Denver and San Francisco mints. This is where the first interesting part of the story begins. Mint marks play a crucial role in the identification and value of coins. If you look closely at any U.S. coin, you'll notice a small letter near the date. The D represents the Denver Mint, while the S represents the San Francisco Mint, and coins without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia. In 1979, because of the wide distribution and minting of pennies across different facilities, there are variations in the quality and design of the coins. Some are more well-known, and some are even rarer than others. One of the most intriguing variations of the 1979 penny is the so-called double die error coin. This particular error occurred when the coin was struck multiple times, causing the image on the coin to be slightly doubled. This doubling effect is most noticeable in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." And in some cases, it's even visible in the date itself. The 1979 double die penny became one of the most sought-after coins by collectors and dealers due to its rarity and the unique appearance of the doubling. Now, let's take a closer look at the design itself. On the obverse, we have the well-known bust of Abraham Lincoln. His face, composed with such detail, is surrounded by the legend Liberty, and below the bust is the year of mintage, 1979. Above Lincoln's head, you'll find the inscription, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, an enduring symbol of American strength, democracy, and history. The memorial was chosen as a symbol of Lincoln's legacy, and it remained on the reverse of the penny until 2009, when the design was changed to honor the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. The coin's design was first created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it was unveiled in 1909 as part of the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Since then, the image of Lincoln on the obverse has been a constant reminder of the nation's history, ideals, and perseverance. But the 1979 penny, in particular, stands out as a piece of numismatic art and history as for the minting details. It's important to note that the 1979 penny, like most U.S. pennies, is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition was used for many years, and it wasn't until later in the 1980s that the composition of the penny was changed due to rising copper prices. However, the copper content of the 1979 penny gives it a distinctive look and feel, heavier and more robust than the later zinc-plated pennies that would dominate in the years to come. Now that we have some historical and design context, let's shift gears and talk about the collector appeal. The 1979 Lincoln penny is a coin that has fascinated collectors ever since it was first minted. The rarity of the double die error, in particular, has made it one of the most coveted coins among numismatists. There's something incredibly special about holding a coin that was struck with such an error. It's like possessing a small piece of history that was never meant to exist. These error coins can often fetch impressive prices at auctions, and the excitement among collectors to find one is palpable. So, how rare are these double die pennies? Well, It's estimated that only a small fraction of the 1979 pennies produced that year feature this unique error. While the exact number remains unknown, it's believed that only a few thousand of these double die coins were ever struck. This rarity has made the 1979 double die penny an extremely valuable piece of American numismatic history. In addition to the double die error, another factor contributing to the appeal of the 1979 penny is the ongoing fascination with Lincoln himself. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most revered figures in American history, and his image on the penny serves as a constant reminder of the nation's ideals of freedom, equality, and democracy. For collectors, owning a coin with such historical significance is an opportunity to connect with the past in a tangible way. But what about the value of the 1979 penny? Are these coins worth anything beyond their face value? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. The value of the 1979 Lincoln penny can vary significantly depending on its condition, mint mark, and, most importantly, whether it's a double die error coin. While a typical 1979 penny may only be worth a few cents, a well-preserved double die error coin can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more. In fact, the most valuable 1979 Lincoln penny ever sold at auction fetched an astounding $182,700. That's right, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, became a priceless piece of history. This record-breaking sale has captured the imagination of collectors and numismatists around the world, and it's a testament to the fact that even the most humble coins can hold immense value in the right circumstances. So, what makes a 1979 penny worth so much money? The answer lies in the rarity, the condition, and the uniqueness of the coin. Collectors prize error coins like the double die penny because they represent an anomaly, something that was never meant to exist but somehow slipped through the cracks and made its way into circulation. This rarity, combined with the historical significance of the Lincoln penny, makes it an incredibly sought-after item in the world of coin collecting. The 1979 penny is more than just a piece of currency. It's a snapshot of a moment in American history. It's a coin that reflects the changing times of the late 20th century and a reminder of the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1979 Lincoln penny offers something for everyone. A fascinating story, a beautiful design, and, in some cases, a significant financial reward. So, the next time you're sifting through your spare change, take a moment to examine your pennies. Who knows? You might just stumble upon a hidden gem, one that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 3. We're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in the United States, the Lincoln 1-cent penny, specifically the 1980 version. A small, unassuming coin in many people's pockets, but one with a legacy, history, and value that might just surprise you. Let's rewind to the year 1909, when a monumental change took place in American coinage. Prior to this, the U.S. penny featured the Indian head design, but in 1909, the U.S. Mint introduced a new design, one that would become a symbol of the country's history and remain unchanged for over a century. That design, of course, was Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln was chosen for his importance in American history, and the new penny was meant to honor his legacy. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the coin featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and a wreath on the reverse. It was an immediate hit, with the public embracing the new design. And though the designs of U.S. coins have evolved over the years, the Lincoln penny has endured, with only minor adjustments in the design, especially with the reverse side. Fast forward to 1980. By this time, the penny had gone through numerous small changes, but its essence remained the same. The 1980 Lincoln penny was minted in 2 distinct forms, one with a copper composition and the other made with a copper-plated zinc core. This transition occurred as part of a larger change in the composition of U.S. coins, driven by the rising cost of copper and the need to reduce production costs. For a coin that was mass-produced, the 1980 penny might seem like just another coin in the vast sea of American currency. But what makes this particular penny stand out, especially among collectors, are the small details and the rarity that can make certain 1980 pennies more valuable than you might expect. Before we get to the thrilling value of the coin, let's talk a little bit about its production. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1980, with most of them being made at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These coins were meant to be used in everyday transactions, so the mintages were high, and the coins were produced in large quantities to ensure a steady supply for the American public. But, and here's where it gets interesting, not all 1980 pennies are created equal. The 1980 Lincoln penny is unique in its history because, like all coins, slight variations in its production process led to a small number of errors, which are highly sought after by collectors. From off-center strikes to double dies and even rare misprints, these errors can make a significant difference in the coin's value. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about the design itself, which has remained iconic for over a century. On the obverse, or the head side of the 1980 penny, you'll see a well-detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln, his face gazing solemnly ahead. This image has changed very little since its introduction in 1909. The engraving captures Lincoln's likeness, created by Victor David Brenner, who was the mastermind behind the design. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the traditional depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to the monument in Washington, D.C., where Lincoln's legacy as a leader and statesman is enshrined. The memorial was added to the reverse of the penny in 1959, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Interestingly, the penny's design underwent another change in 2010, when the reverse side was altered to feature a shield. But for our discussion today, we're focused on the 1980 penny, which still carries that cherished Lincoln Memorial design. While most pennies from 1980 are pretty standard, it's important to note that not all of them are easy to find in perfect condition. The quality of a penny depends largely on how it was stored and whether it's been in circulation for years. You may have seen those old, worn-down pennies at the bottom of your wallet or under your car's seat, and those coins are certainly far less valuable than a penny in excellent condition. But what makes certain 1980 pennies truly valuable? Well, it's the rare errors and unique characteristics that some collectors are on the lookout for. For instance, a penny with a double die, which occurs during the minting process when the coin's design is struck more than once, can make that penny highly sought after. This error is not as common as one might think, and finding one is a rare event. Some 1980 pennies might also have been produced with misalignments or other minting flaws. These errors, though minor in appearance, can dramatically affect the coin's value. It's this rarity and the high demand from collectors that can lead to an increase in value over time. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. While most of the 1980 pennies you'll come across in everyday life are worth only 1 cent, the value of certain rare versions can be much, much higher. In fact, a particularly rare 1980 Lincoln penny, one with a unique error such as a double die, has been known to fetch prices as high as $78,700. That's right. The value of this humble penny could be in the tens of thousands of dollars. But remember, these rare finds aren't easy to come by. They require a keen eye for detail, a bit of luck, and sometimes years of searching to uncover. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual observer, the thrill of discovering a rare coin like the 1980 Lincoln penny is a testament to the excitement and wonder of coin collecting. To wrap things up, the 1980 Lincoln penny may seem like a small, everyday item, but it holds so much more than its face value. From its design to its minting history, and especially the rare errors that make it so coveted, this penny is a reminder of the intricacies and beauty of American coinage. So next time you come across a 1980 penny, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding a piece of history that could make you a small fortune. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history and value of the 1980 Lincoln penny. I hope you've enjoyed the story behind this little coin that has made such an impact on American culture and coinage. Keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and who knows? The next rare penny you find could change your life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this video. And as always, happy collecting. Top 4. In 1982, something happened that would forever change the way collectors and numismatists viewed the United States Lincoln 1-cent penny. What seemed like just another year in the history of U.S. currency turned out to be a turning point that would result in one of the most sought-after and valuable pennies in the world today. The 1982 Lincoln penny is much more than just a coin. It's a piece of American history, a symbol of change, and, for many, an exciting treasure hunt. To truly understand the significance of this coin, we need to take a step back in time. The penny has always been a staple of American currency. Since its introduction in 1909, with the iconic design of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, it has been a constant presence in people's pockets, purses, and piggy banks. Yet, despite its familiarity, the penny has undergone numerous changes over the years. The year 1982 marked a major turning point in its design and composition, one that would ultimately give rise to a rare and valuable coin. For years, pennies were primarily made of copper, but by the early 1980s, the cost of copper had risen, and the U.S. Mint found itself grappling with the increasing expense of producing these coins. It wasn't long before the Mint decided to experiment with a new composition, one that would be cheaper to produce without sacrificing the familiar look and feel of the penny. In 1982, the United States Mint began producing pennies with a new copper-plated zinc composition, replacing the solid copper used in prior years. The new penny was lighter, cheaper to produce, and easier to mint. But this change also introduced a divide. Coins produced before and after the change in 1982 had distinct differences, both in terms of their metal composition and their weight. And this divide would lead to an incredible discovery that would spark interest in the coin's collector appeal. The story of the 1982 penny begins in early January of that year, when the U.S. Mint started production with the traditional copper design. However, by mid-1982, the Mint had already switched to the new zinc-based design, which would become the standard for future pennies. This means that 1982 saw two different types of pennies being minted, the copper-based penny and the new zinc-based penny. But the story doesn't end there. While this change might seem like a minor adjustment at first glance, the difference in composition led to a subtle yet important variance in the appearance and weight of the coins. The copper pennies, heavier and more durable, retained the rich, warm color that had been associated with pennies for decades. The zinc pennies, on the other hand, were lighter and took on a much brighter, shinier appearance due to their copper plating. But why does this matter to collectors? The key is that the transition between the two compositions wasn't perfectly synchronized. The U.S. Mint had to handle the changeover carefully, but some of the copper pennies were produced after the Mint had already switched to zinc. This overlap created a very specific, limited window where some of the pennies were still being minted in the old copper composition, while others were produced using the new zinc formula. It's this very rarity that has led to an overwhelming interest from collectors. The 1982 copper penny, minted at a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning to zinc, stands out as an anomaly. Despite the fact that millions of pennies were produced in 1982, only a small fraction of them were made with the old copper composition, which means these coins are far rarer than most realize. But collectors didn't just stumble upon these rare pennies. Over the years, people began to notice the difference in weight and appearance between the 1982 copper and zinc pennies, and it sparked an incredible search. Coins that were once viewed as just pocket change began to take on new significance. Many people began examining their collections, looking through their jars of pennies to find this elusive copper version of the 1982 penny. But the excitement didn't end there. In addition to the change in composition, the 1982 penny also experienced some minor variations in design. The reverse side of the penny, featuring the iconic Lincoln Memorial, would see some subtle alterations due to changes in the way the coins were minted. These variations, although small, would later become a crucial point of interest for advanced collectors and experts in numismatics. As the years passed, the significance of the 1982 copper penny grew. By the early 2000s, news of its rarity had spread widely, and collectors and investors alike began searching for these hidden treasures. Coin dealers began to charge premium prices for any 1982 copper pennies in good condition. The penny that had once been dismissed as just another piece of change was now considered a highly desirable item for serious collectors. The demand for the 1982 copper penny continued to rise, and this shift in interest also led to an increase in the coin's value. What was once a simple penny, often discarded or spent on small purchases, now had a significant place in the world of rare coins. For the first time in decades, the penny had become a coveted item, capable of bringing in substantial returns at auctions and in private sales. Now, you might be wondering, just how valuable can a single 1982 copper penny be? The value of the 1982 copper penny is determined by several factors, including its rarity, condition, and the specific details of its minting. While most 1982 pennies are not worth much more than their face value, certain rare examples have fetched incredible sums in the numismatic world. In particular, the 1982 copper pennies that are in excellent condition, unblemished by wear or damage, can command jaw-dropping prices. If you've ever wondered what a 1982 copper penny could be worth, the answer might just surprise you. In fact, one such penny recently sold for an astounding $74,700. That's right, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was first minted, is now valued at over $70,000. And what makes this particular coin so valuable? It's the rare combination of its copper composition, its excellent condition, and its place in the history of American currency. With only a small number of these copper pennies in circulation, the rarity and demand for them have driven the price to astronomical heights. Now, you may be asking yourself, how can I identify if I have one of these valuable 1982 copper pennies? It's actually not as difficult as you might think. The first thing to do is to check the weight of the penny. Copper pennies from 1982 weigh 3.11 grams, while the zinc pennies weigh slightly less, around 2.5 grams. You can easily use a scale to check the weight of your penny. If you have a 1982 penny that weighs 3.11 grams, there's a good chance you've found a gem. Additionally, you can check the visual appearance of the penny. Copper pennies from 1982 will have a richer, warmer tone than their zinc counterparts. If your penny has a lighter, shinier appearance, it's likely one of the zinc pennies. But if it has a deeper, reddish-brown hue, you may have stumbled upon the rare copper version. Finding one of these valuable pennies might seem like a stroke of luck, but the truth is, many collectors have dedicated years to building their collections, and the 1982 copper penny is often one of the most prized coins in their portfolios. As we look back at the incredible journey of the 1982 Lincoln 1-cent penny, we can appreciate how something as simple as a change in metal composition led to the creation of a coin that would become a symbol of rarity, value, and history. It's amazing to think that something as commonplace as a penny could hold such immense value. The 1982 copper penny is more than just a piece of change. It's a treasure, a testament to the ingenuity of the U.S. Mint, and a reminder that sometimes the most unassuming things can hold the greatest worth. So, next time you're digging through a jar of pennies, remember that hidden among the countless coins may be a true gem, a rare 1982 copper penny, worth far more than its face value, just waiting to be discovered. And who knows, you could be the one to find the next $74,700 penny. Top 5. In the world of numismatics, few coins have captured the imagination of collectors quite like the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin in the vast sea of American currency. After all, pennies are common, and we often overlook them as nothing more than small change. However, as we delve deeper into the history, design, minting details, and the fascinating story of its value, you'll soon discover why the 1971 Lincoln penny is a collector's dream, with an impressive value that will leave you astounded. Our story begins in 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first introduced to the American public. The idea for the coin was the brainchild of President Theodore Roosevelt, who was keen on bringing more artistic flair to American coins. To accomplish this, he enlisted the help of renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner. The result was the first ever coin in U.S. history to feature the image of a real person, President Abraham Lincoln. The Lincoln cent became an instant symbol of national pride, honoring one of America's most beloved presidents. The original design, which featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, or front, side and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, remained unchanged until 1959, when the coin was redesigned to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This new design, created by artist Frank Gasparo, showed a young Lincoln on the obverse and an image of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Fast forward to 1971, when the United States Mint released the coin we're discussing today, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny. Although the design itself remained the same, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln and the iconic Lincoln Memorial, it marked a significant point in the coin's history. For the first time in over a decade, the U.S. Mint had been producing a new batch of pennies with a higher quantity than ever before. The economic climate at the time, coupled with the rising cost of metal, set the stage for a fascinating shift in the future of the penny. To by 1971. The U.S. Mint had already begun a shift away from using pure copper in coin production. To make up for the rising cost of copper, the mint began producing coins using a copper-plated zinc composition. This change led to a significant alteration in the coin's composition, which had an impact on both its weight and overall feel. Yet, despite the changes in material, the design remained unchanged. If you were to hold a 1971 penny in your hand today, you would see a familiar sight: Abraham Lincoln's face, etched in profile on the obverse, his gaze directed to the right, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year of mintage, 1971. On the reverse, the image of the Lincoln Memorial stands tall, a symbol of the strength and unity of the American people, flanked by the words, "E pluribus unum," and United States of America, with the denomination 1 cent proudly displayed beneath the memorial. But while the 1971 penny may look like every other penny minted in that era, there's something quite unique about it. Due to certain rare varieties and minting errors, a small percentage of these pennies are highly sought after by collectors, and they can fetch astronomical prices in the right market conditions. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1971 penny is its potential for rare and valuable errors. Over the years, several pennies from this era have been discovered with manufacturing defects that significantly increase their worth. These errors can range from double-die varieties, where the image is stamped twice, creating a blurry, overlapping effect, to other issues like off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. These rare errors turn what would otherwise be an ordinary penny into a prized treasure for numismatists. For example, one of the most valuable 1971 Lincoln pennies is the 1971 double-die obverse variety. This rare error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to appear twice, often with noticeable doubling of the letters and numbers on the obverse. These pennies are highly coveted by collectors, and they can be worth thousands of dollars if they're in good condition. In fact, some of these coins have been sold for prices as high as $10,000 or more at auction, depending on their rarity and condition. Another error that can increase the value of a 1971 penny is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, resulting in a coin with a design that's partially or completely misaligned. These types of coins are highly prized by collectors because they are unusual and visually striking. In some cases, off-center 1971 pennies can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the misalignment and the coin's overall quality. In addition to these error varieties, the general scarcity of well-preserved 1971 pennies also contributes to their appeal. Pennies that have been in circulation for decades tend to show wear and tear, which can dramatically reduce their value. However, a 1971 penny that remains in mint condition, with sharp details and no visible signs of wear, is considered a treasure. These uncirculated or proof coins are rare, and they often fetch higher prices at auction, especially among collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents. So, what makes the 1971 Lincoln penny so special? While it's true that most of these pennies aren't worth much more than their face value of 1 cent, a small subset of them is incredibly valuable due to their rare characteristics, errors, and condition. For a numismatist, finding one of these special pennies is like striking gold. As the years have gone by, interest in coin collecting has continued to grow. With the rise of online auction sites and dedicated collector communities, the market for rare coins like the 1971 Lincoln penny has expanded. What was once a small hobby for a select group of enthusiasts has now become a global phenomenon, with coins from every era and denomination being traded at record prices. The 1971 Lincoln penny is just one example of how a seemingly insignificant piece of change can become a prized possession for those in the know. The allure of the 1971 penny lies not only in its historical significance, but also in the thrill of the hunt. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for those rare, elusive examples that can turn an ordinary coin into a fortune. And when it comes to the 1971 Lincoln penny, some of these rare specimens are worth far more than most people can imagine. Now, as we near the end of our journey, it's time to reveal the big secret: the incredible value of certain 1971 Lincoln pennies. While most of these pennies are worth only 1 cent, Some of the rarest and most pristine examples have sold for staggering prices. One such coin, a 1971 double-die obverse penny in mint condition, recently fetched a jaw-dropping $94,700 at auction. Yes, you read that right. $94,700 for a single 1971 penny. That's the kind of money that turns heads and makes coin collectors drool. For those who are lucky enough to stumble upon one of these rare varieties, the potential for profit is enormous. And for the collectors who've spent years building their collections, the 1971 Lincoln penny remains one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in the history of American currency. To wrap up our story, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny may seem like just another ordinary coin, but its rich history, design, and the rare varieties it holds make it a fascinating piece of American numismatics. With its ties to the past, its connection to President Abraham Lincoln, and its potential to fetch a small fortune, it's no wonder that collectors continue to search high and low for this humble penny. So, the next time you find a 1971 penny in your pocket, take a moment to appreciate its history, and who knows, maybe you'll have a future treasure in your hands.